Welcome to the Adventures in Alchemy podcast, where we share tips, techniques, and true stories to support you in using the law of attraction and alchemy to create magic and live the life of your dreams. Here's your host, the founder of DailyAlchemy.com, Michelle Martin Dobbins.
Hi, it's Michelle Martin Dobbins, and this is Adventures in Alchemy. And I want to share with you some of my ventures that may not be the most fun, but they are such a learning process. Yeah, I couldn't even say that really and sound enthusiastic. I need to be better. So what am I talking about? Talking about when you make an oopsie, okay? And I do this, yeah. Oopsie. Spiritual people can be jerks too, right? I'm spiritual. I am the Daily Alchemy lady. Hello. I can't be mean or cranky or jerkified. I must always be the picture of virtue and love. Do you do this to yourself too, or is it just me? It might be even I've gotten much harder on myself about this, and I don't want to be hard on myself because that's not the answer. But since I've got myself online and here I am supposed to always be loving and kind. So I was going back through some of my blog posts to kind of tweak my mind for topics and synchronicity. Moving on, I come to this post of, oops, spiritual people can be jerks too. And interestingly enough, I feel like I'm dealing with this same topic at a brand new level. I'd written a post where I'd yelled at my kids, like really, and everyone was crying and upset. And I was just like really upset and they were upset. And then I'm like, hello, here I am. I'm the spiritual mom. I'm the Daily Alchemy lady. I'm not supposed to be negative. I'm not supposed to lose my cool. And, that right there is probably not a good message for anybody to send themselves to set them up for over expectations and expecting to be perfect, because we're all going to have those moments. So I'm going to share with you in just a moment what I put on the blog post for how I dealt with that. But I did want to share, that it's interesting because when I find these mistakes and things that I make, I'm not going to say I never yell at my kids anymore. But dealing with those feelings, it's so much more of a rare occurrence than it used to be. Because I had times when I was just too much of a yeller. It was kind of how I dealt with things. And it was just odd. I'd be meditating all morning and then yelling at someone for, running down the house stairs. It's just crazy, right? But I was thinking, I'm at this point where I'm doing so much better. And recently, it has come to light in my brain that there are some thoughts and things that I'm holding that aren't really nice. And mostly they're directed towards my husband. Poor guy, because he is a delightful man. He truly is. And he does so much for me, and he fixes everything that breaks in this house and puts together everything, and he does a lot. And I'm not saying that I don't do a lot too, but I realized that because spirituality and personal growth, at least on my path and his path, they're not the same. And I realized that I was carrying around this thought that I was better than him. And wow. It's kind of like, ooh, ouch. That's kind of a jerky thing to be thinking and be focusing on, and to put that on him that, just because he doesn't follow the same path that I do, I think I'm smarter. I think I'm better. And it's really had me some cause for deep reflection, I guess I should say. So I find this blog post, and I'm going to share with you what I do when I start feeling like I'm in the wrong and I'm being kind of a jerk. One is I feel the feeling. It doesn't work for me to pretend that it didn't happen and just smile and put the little fake smile on and go on about my day. I actually have to sit and feel it. And if you know me, I talk a lot about feeling the feelings in your body, feeling what it feels like, where do you feel it? Do you feel it in your throat? Do you feel it in your stomach? Do you feel it in your left foot, in your big toe? I don't know. But sometimes just dropping that story of oh, I've been a jerk, I've done a bad thing. Just feel what it feels like. And I'm not going to say it feels good, but I think it's important to feel it. And then my second step after I felt it is to soothe myself. I have to tell myself a better story. So instead of saying, oh my gosh, how could I yell at my kids and set them up for a bad day at school and future therapy? I have to shift it. I have to say, my kids are resilient. They probably already forgotten it. They know everybody loses it sometimes. And, I'm just a real mom and they're okay. They're going to be okay. And I'm going to make it up to them and always, be a good role model as much as I can for how to deal with, how to handle yourself when you have made a mistake. That's a great thing for them to learn too, right? It's a great thing for them to see me do that. And, in the situation with my husband, I don't know. I don't go around telling my husband that I think I am better spiritually than he is or, more smarter about certain things and I know how personal growth should happen. But to be honest, I think a lot of times people know when we think those things. And so I can tell myself that now that I realize that I'm doing this and setting myself up this way, I get to change. And it's just a story. It's just a belief. And I kind of feel like once I change that thought, it's going to open things up for me and for him and just going to make things so much more deeper and connected. Because how can you really connect with someone when you think on a certain level that you are better than they are? I don't think that's probably not the strongest, deepest connection maker. So, step number 3, redo it. You can't necessarily go back in time, and a lot of people say what's done is done. I do believe that time is relative, and I do believe that I can change my past. So I like to go back in my mind and see myself doing things how I would have done them if I had been feeling good. And I'm not going to say that this necessarily changes things and that what happened didn't happen, but sometimes when I go back and do these replays or send negative things back into the void, as Lola Jones is a teacher that I've learned from, and she teaches about sending it back to the void. The void is where everything is created from. So fresh start, do over in your mind and kind of get yourself back to your happy place. And then I have as a bonus to make amends. And I think making amends is great. But I do find that once I've changed how I feel about things and done the personal growth work, that I'll usually make amends without actually even trying to. And I find that sometimes we may skip all these other steps and just make amends. And it doesn't necessarily lead us to that place of change and hopefully not continually making the same mistakes. I'm not going to say that we're not going to make mistakes again and might make that same mistake again, but definitely go through those first 3 steps before you make amends because it's going to make you feel different about it. And when you feel different about it, then the outcome will be different. So if you feel like you're ever a jerk too, hopefully I'm not the only one. Be okay with that and know that it's a stepping stone, even more and more personal and spiritual growth. But don't beat yourself up for any mistakes that you've made just because you are on a spiritual path or you're, becoming an alchemist or, you're working with the law of attraction does not mean that you have to be a perfect person, does not mean that you can be a perfect person, but it does mean that you have the tools to learn how to love yourself and to improve your experience here in the vast wide world and enjoy your life and create a lot of magic in it. So go out there and create some magic today. And if you have some time, stop by Stitcher or iTunes or SoundCloud, even YouTube, and leave me a review, a rating, some feedback. I'd love to hear what you think. I would love to hear how you deal when you mess up and feel like you've been a jerk. And have a wonderful, wonderful day. Namaste.
Thanks for listening to the Adventures in Alchemy podcast. Connect with me on thedailyalchemy.com or Facebook at facebook.com/Michelle Dobbins, author. Join us next time for even more magical life tips.